Hi everybody, it's Matt Hawes, and this is for my shop, Comics Unlimited. I picked up Amazing Fantasy 15 here. That is the first appearance of the Amazing Spider-Man. The very first appearance, and this is the first print. And I wanted to film this. I'll be putting this on eBay. And I just want to kind of give people a look at it. It's actually the first copy I've picked up of Amazing Fantasy. I've had a lot of good books come through the shop, but this is the first copy of Amazing Fantasy. It's a pretty nice looking copy. It's I would rate it, you know, as a nice, solid, good copy. Maybe even closer. Well, it's under very good, but it's right around a good plus, I would think. I mean, there is defects. There's, you know, of course, some creasing right there and a little bit of chipping. But overall, it's in pretty nice shape here. Let's see here. There's a little tear that's on the top there, towards the top of the edge there. But now this is one of the more notable things, more notable defects, I suppose. That there is a bit of a tape from a label that somebody had stuck onto the book to label the book. I don't know why they would need to label it, but that was on there. It's just, you know, a paper adhesive strip there, you know, for a label. But that's probably the major flaw with the book, really, outside of some of the things like a little tear there. The interior pages are actually pretty nice. The cover is bound pretty well. It's not loose. The cover is not loose. You can see the staples there are held on pretty good there. Here's the splash page, and any Spider-Man fan will recognize this from several reprints if they don't have the original themselves. Let's flip to the second page here. There you go again. The introduction of Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Introduction of Peter Parker. The introduction of Flash Thompson. I think that's Liz there too. All these characters first appeared in this. There's a story of Spider-Man going to the radiation experiment around this school there, where he gets bit. But yeah, I basically figured I'd share this with the people on YouTube, as well as use this as a way to show for those people looking on my auction, whenever I put it up, the condition of the book. It's not every day you come across Amazing Fantasy 15. There was a guy this last year actually paid $1 million for Amazing Fantasy 15 that was graded. It was a high grade. It was a lot nicer copy than this one, to be honest. That's, I guess, why they spent that much money on it. It was certified by CGC. But this is not, of course. This is not a CGC copy by any means, and I'm not going to worry about submitting it. It's a lower grade, like I said, but it's a nice lower grade. It's not. There's no major staining. The browning isn't really that bad at all, considering. I mean, the paper quality is pretty good, really. It's a nice, complete copy. No loose pages. Now, here's one of the other tears on this page where Spider-Man's introduced to the nation on TV. Here's another little thing, by the way. All the reprints pretty much recolor the spider on his back. The spider on the back, you'll notice, is blue in this, the original printing of Spider-Man, Amazing Fantasy 15. That's one telltale sign about first printing, is the spider on the back right there. Because in later reprintings, they would always recolor it to match the way it would be later on. Starting, I think, with the first issue where it was recolored red. And from there on, it would stay red. But in the very first Amazing Spider-Man story, there's actually a blue spider on his back. So there's some trivia for you. And then here's, you know, some more interior pages. This is where the criminal escapes at this point. Pretty much, if you watched the film, then but you weren't familiar with the comic books, the story's pretty faithful in the movie, in the Sam Raimi movie. I don't know how faithful it'll be in the new one that's coming up, but there are some changes. But overall, especially the first film, not the second or the third one where they redid and said it was Sandman who killed Uncle Ben. But yeah, that's the Spider-Man story in the book. Now here's some of the other pages. There's an ad. Mike Marvel. All the stories in here are by the legendary Steve Ditko and Stan Lee. Both legendary there. Stan Lee wrote all the stories, and Steve Ditko did all the illustrations. And Steve Ditko is, like I said, he's a legendary, real popular artist. Had his own unique style. And he drew Spider-Man for the first, was it 38 issues? Getting rusty there. Of Amazing Spider-Man. And yeah, this whole book, a lot of times in the different comic books from Marvel during this period, you would have Don Heck and Jack Kirby and sometimes some other artists would draw some of the other backup stories. But as I recall going through this, I think every one of these were drawn by Steve Ditko. There's another one, Man in the Mummy Case. Spider-Man shares his first appearance with a mummy story. Just to make it clear here, as I'm going by, you'll notice, like I said, there's that chip on the bottom corner, of the, right there of the cover, the inside front cover. But if there's no actual, the pages don't have that chip. I don't know if it's clear on the film, on the video there. Just want to point that out because I notice as I keep passing over it, it might appear that way. But actually, like I said, most of the interior pages are in really nice shape. It's a shame that the cover has some of the defects it does, because if it matched the insides, it'd be a even nicer copy. But it's really cool. Steve Ditko was at his prime during this period. So, I always liked his use of shadow and light, like right there with the mummy's face. Like the guy there. There's some awesome stuff there. The fun old ads from the comic books of the period. There we go. This is the fan page. Important announcement from the editor, which would be Stan Lee, I'm sure. And it's talking about how the next issue would be, or there wouldn't be a next issue, actually. They said the format had changed. And they were talking about how this was the last issue of that. But they do mention Spider-Man. And that's interesting. Let's check that out. Another ad page. Now, this is one of those books. There Are Martians Among Us. Was another Steve Ditko story, or artwork and story with him and Stan Lee. But this is one of those books you don't want to handle too much because, like I said, there's people who have paid $1 million for a really pristine or nice copy of it, and even without being graded, its value's at $125,000 in near mint. And then on top of that, this copy, it could be anywhere valued or anywhere around the $4,000 range, roughly. But it's hard. Like some books in certain grades. Like near mint is near mint, pretty much. Near mint, there still could be minor flaws and stuff, but basically it looks like a brand new book. But like the interesting to me, like this, is like the interiors of this page, these interior pages are actually, I would say, overall beyond the good condition. But of course, you have to take into consideration the cover and everything else as well. So there's a number of factors involved with the grading of a comic, and so the whole package is taken into account. But I noticed, no dog-eared pages, as you can see. Just a couple pages that have, like that one had the nick on, or the small tear at the top. Staples are in really good there, and then you know, there's a little bit of discoloration, maybe a small water stain of some sort, but otherwise there's no other kind of damage. There's that spot right there, and then that spot right there, but no other kind of staining like that. And again, it's on the covers. The interiors are pretty nice. I'm gonna try and flip here to the center. I'm not sure if I focused the camera on the center page here. Again, to show you the staples, how they're secure. See, they're nice and secure. The original stapling. That's the center page right there. Nice and secure staples. Okay, we'll go back, flip back here. Basically, as soon as I finish filming this sucker is going to go into the bag and board again, and don't plan to touch it again until I sell it. And I don't plan to, just plan to go ahead and keep it in the bag and board, because it's one of those things, like I said, you don't want to really handle these too much. You don't want to cause any further damage, but it's really nice to have. That's the back cover. Go around the edges here, just to show those off to you. That bit here at the top, again, that's that label. That's part of that label that was on the inside front cover. That's the spine there. You can see, you know, of course, that's somewhere increasing, but the staples are still pretty good on the cover there. So that's it. That's Amazing Spider-Man's first appearance. Star of cartoons and movies and TV shows, and particular comic books where he first appeared. And this is it. This is the first appearance of the Marvel Comics icon. So if you get a chance while this is still on my auction, check it out, and hope if you have the money and want to bid on it, feel free to do so. I don't think you'll be too disappointed unless you're just going after purely high grade stuff, but this is a really nice copy for a low grade. And that's it for this video.